Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So, Valby inside of the Forbidden Sanctuary. Top tier options, so let's get right on into what you're going to want to run for Valby inside of this dungeon. Is my mic facing the right way? It is. Okay, so let's get right on into it. Starting off, we are going to go with mid-air maneuvering to take advantage of our movement. The next big thing is you are not going to be using water play. This is an absolute trash red module. You 100% want crit. Crit is the better option. Supply moisture, it is. Now, with this setup, with Valby, there's going to be a setup with a regular build with no Ancestor mod, and then the Ancestor mod setup is the optimal build for this dungeon. So let's get on into the without Ancestor mod, and then when I do show the Ancestor mod later in the video, I will change the setup and everything as you need to that. Now, with this Valby build, the first thing you want is cooldown. Cooldown equals literal damage on Valby, so you want to be spamming in every single regard with Valby, so cooldown is going to be your number one thing. So let's go with nimble fingers over here, and then we are also going to be going with focus on non-attribute, and then we are also going with focus on fusion. Valby's first ability, which is her most important ability, is her bubble bullet, and this is the ability we will be taking advantage of. So this is what we are going to be going with. Next up, we've got the crit on Valby. Because we are building into crit, we want all of the critical mods, especially if we are going without an Ancestor mod. So there you go, over here, all crit rate mods and crit damage mods for Valby in over there. Now, there's one other critical component. You only need one range module inside of this dungeon. Now, because of the setup and how it works, you've got the option of either going with MP Collector or Selective MP Recovery. Selective Recovery with MP, that is your ideal option, or you just want to go with HP Amplification. I would go with HP Amplification because MP is not too much of a problem inside of this dungeon, so this is what you are going to want to run. For your trigger mod, with Valby, it stays as good, all reliable, so we are going to be using Power Beyond. This is going to allow you to group mobs and deal better DPS to them faster, so this is what we are going with. Now, that's the Valby build covered, so let's have a quick gander at the rest of this setup. Now, for the Reactor, before we do that though real quick, I'm going to quickly grab my weapons. So for the weapons on Valby, there's two weapons you are going to want to go with. Number 2 being a Peacemaker, and number 1 being a Blue Beetle. Don't worry, we'll come back to that a little bit later. Now, with the Reactor, this is what you are going to want to go with. It doesn't have any mounting anymore, so you're going to want a non-attribute and fusion reactor with Valby. This is going to be the ideal setup. You want cooldown on here as a non-negotiable, crit damage or faction. Now, crit damage is overall going to just give you damage with everything, and if you want to go with faction damage, I would recommend Order of Truth, because there is more Order of Truth inside of this dungeon, so it does tend to work out a little bit better, at least if you go about it with that aspect. Now, with the next part of the setup, let's have a look at the external components. Off the bat, you are going to go with Hunter Set. Hunter Set might be a little bit confusing to you guys, because you might want to be using the Mage Set, so don't worry about that. This is something that's going to be talked about a little bit later. So Hunter Set, max HP and MP recovery out of combat, max MP recovery in combat, MP recovery modifier and electric resistance or defense, and then max shield and toxic resistance for every single one of your oops, my capture card's tweaking. There you go, we're back. For every single one of your cores, you just want max HP, and defense for every single one of them is going to be the main thing. So that is pretty much that. Now let's have a quick look at the arcade tuning tree. So let's have a quick look at this. Now, with the tuning tree for Valby, it's fairly simplistic. We're going to go to the right, we're going to go all the way down, and then we are going to go all the way up towards enhanced skill cooldown. We're going to go all the way up to non-attribute cohesion, We're going to go 4 nodes to the right over there, and then we're going to go up and grab ourselves the skill power. A fairly simplistic tree. You just want to go for crit damage on here. You need the cooldown as an essential with Valby, so that is something that you definitely want to be focusing on. And then non-attribute cohesion, just to scale your damage up a little bit further. Now, with the weapons, let's have a quick look at them along with the inversions. With the blue beetle, this is the cores and substats that I have on there. The most important thing ideally just being the sprint speed and the grapple, so you can spider around if you want to for your movement. Now, the build on here doesn't really matter too much, but this is what I have gone with. Defense master and tactical change would be the most important thing. When you change your weapon and defeat a mob, you can get yourself a big increase in defense, so that's what you go with over here. Now the second weapon is going to be the Peacemaker. The Peacemaker, same thing, you just want grapple and sprint speed, and the modules I've gone with on here is these modules over here for a DPS setup, or you could use it in the exact same setup and use it with tactical change along with defense master. So that's pretty much that for your Peacemaker. For your inversions on Valby, I don't think I reset these. I didn't. Okay, there you go. For your inversions with Valby, you'd want to go with skill cost. That's going to be the main thing. And then you would want to go with a little bit of MP recovery with neurostim, and then HP with the pain suppression, just for additional survivability with Valby. Now, this is where it gets into the big stuff, the Ancestor mod. The Ancestor mod truly is what changes this build drastically. Now with Valby, the main thing you want is capped cooldown. So for an Ancestor mod with Valby, this is what you would go with. You would go with an Ancestor mod with cooldown on it is going to be the most important one. Let me just find my Ancestor mod, the right one that I should be using. Yeah, there it is. So I've got crit rate, cooldown, and fusion on here with a negative shield. If you can get this in any stats, the main stat you want, the most important one, is cooldown. Even a purple one is completely fine because you do hit the cap. Crit rate is a good one as well, especially for damage output. And fusion helps Valby's damage drastically. A harmless negative like max shield is going to be good too. If you get crit rate, crit damage and cooldown, that's also good too. But this is what I got with my Ancestor because I didn't really dictate my RNG. Now with the way that this works, you want to stand in Valby's water and cast your abilities to get yourself the crit rate buff from supply moisture. This buff is so significant, you can completely delete skill insight off your build with Valby. That is how drastic of a buff this is. Because we did replace a range module, we are going to add that range module back in. So we're just going to get ourselves skill expansion back in. And then you can still run HP amplification if you would like. If you want to live life on the edge and you've got used to running the dungeon and everything, this is where you could put some form of MP in. So MP selective recovery MP would be a good option here as well, or MP collector again. The only thing is you'll be a little bit more volatile, so you'll get nuked by the bosses a little bit more, so you're definitely going to want to be on your toes a little bit better, especially if you choose this one. Now with this as well, this is not where the changes stop with the build. With this, because of the cooldown cap, you don't even need to run hunter set anymore because your cooldown is still capped. So you go over to mage set to increase your damage output drastically. This is again still the same stats, so on and so forth, still the same tree, nothing changes on that front. And because of the crit rate on this, like I said, you can just hold hold the Peacemaker. As long as you cast in the water, you're fine. And that's basically where majority of the changes come for the Ancestor mod specifically. So with that out of the way, let's have a look at some gameplay for Valby. So let me quickly pull that up. Now this was a run that I did not too long ago with Valby, so let's have a look at the gameplay over here and I'll show you how she works. Kind of cooked, and I'm sorry about the gameplay and so on and so forth, because I know it's not completely full screen, but I don't really know how to fix it inside of the Windows Media Player. If anyone knows, please let me know. Thank you. So this is the way that we play with Valby. We do our spam right off the bat. This is just going to allow us to build up some of the from some of the skill costs. And as you can see here, you just run through everything and you just, you know, spam your one ability everywhere. The main gameplay loop with Valby is just spamming her one so that you can, you know, kill everything. And as you can see here, my crits are already crazy good. The damage is already very, very promising as well. And yeah, you can just see in general, even with bosses. Thank you for the follow, Mark. Thank you for the follow, Mark Pyers. Appreciate that. Even with the bosses, literally the only thing you want to do is just spam her one. If you do use her fourth ability on here as well, this is still good and will help you do a lot more damage. Valby's fourth ability is definitely a nice high DPS ability as well, so you should definitely consider using that one too. Now, with this, my gameplay is lagging. Let me shut TFD down. Cooked. Alright, let's do that again. With this, you can see the way that it works in general. It just does crazy high levels of DPS. And even with Valby, you can literally just use a simple shoot style build and it just does everything. You could use her fourth ability for more damage, especially in the bigger rooms. This is what I would recommend if you want to be faster. But honestly, even a 5-minute time in this dungeon is solid. It's not the fastest run ever, and it's definitely not the slowest run either. So it's fine for me, and you know, if you want to optimize it, you definitely can. There's a lot more strats and stuff that you can do anyways. Now, the biggest thing I want to say is if you are running this solo, you definitely want to you want an Ancestor module. Realistically, you're not going to be hitting like sub 5-minute times without an Ancestor module, which is 100% possible with the setup. You just need to make sure you do have a good Ancestor. That's kind of it. The Ancestors are pay to win or pay to be faster, especially for leaderboards, but this is just kind of what the game has evolved into, and you kind of just have to deal with it. Again, with this boss, you can see I'm not even bothering using my my fourth ability. I'm literally just jumping around using my first ability, and this is legit more than enough. It's just, you know, it's nice. And you can see here I got the negative skill cost buff, so this is nice, and I don't need to worry about my skill cost, so I'm being a little bit lazy. I did get careless and I got one-shotted in the face, so this is what happens when you don't run any HP module. But if you do run HP amplification, you won't be dying to this anytime soon, so don't worry about that. But that was just me being a little bit careless with the setup. But you can just see, you know, running around and so on and so forth. It's really, really nice. And because of the Ancestor mod as well, we don't need to hold the blue beetle like we would do if we did not have the Ancestor mod. Without the Ancestor mod, you need to hold the blue beetle so that you can hit 100% crit. And without the Ancestor mod, you can... with the Ancestor mod, you can hold the Peacemaker, which overall just gives you around about a 17% damage increase from my understanding. So Peacemaker is definitely a nice key to a lot of damage with Valby, specifically on this setup, so that's definitely something you want to be using. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can just see the way in general you can just slam your water down 2-3 casts, and you know, you just want to be spamming it, and that's just kind of how Valby works. And you can see in general that, you know, it does plenty of damage, it annihilates everything. Even on spawn, Valby kicks incredibly fast. And that's basically the main loop of this. Now, with this run specifically, I wasn't using MP, Selective Recovery MP. I was using MP Collector, so I kind of cooked myself in this boss fight. And there's definitely plenty of time that could have been taken off this boss fight. So, yeah, take that with a grain of salt. You can see here, just in general, the actual boss though, he does get cooked. You know, the DPS on the boss is excellent. If I had the MP to back it up even further with Selective, this would have been an even faster run. But even with this, I definitely threw this boss fight quite a bit. And, you know, it happens. Got to show you what happens when you do throw as well. So I'll just let it play out. You can see even with this, we did take care of the boss fairly easily. I did get whacked in the face by the immunity phase. Then with this, you want to use your fourth ability to hit the boss up at the top inside of the bubble. This is going to be the optimal way. As soon as he drops out of the bubble, majority of the times he just does a dash to like attack you or something, which is why you're standing. That's fine. You just want to use this as an opportunity to go through with this. Now at this point, once you do start struggling with MP, you can just force yourself to die, take some damage, reset, get your MP back, and then do it that way. In this instance, I was kind of holding on to Sweet Life because of my MP. I was thinking that maybe I'll be able to clutch it, and I was able to clutch it. But you know, just in general, it's not too bad. And this is kind of what happens with the boss fight. Is just ideally you want to have more MP, so selective recovery MP would be better, especially when it comes to spamming. And you can see this one here was 5 minutes 17, and you saw how slow the boss fight was as well. If I had MP, this boss fight would have been like 20 plus seconds faster, making it a sub 5 minute run, which is not too bad. The only other noteworthy thing would be mag size on your Peacemaker substats, because this does affect the unique weapon. But that's pretty much it when it comes to Valby in the Forbidden Sanctuary dungeon. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, please do smash that like button, and if you're new here, please do consider subscribing. I make plenty of videos on the first Descendant, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.